Yep, look, running too hard in training being the last point that we're going to make. What do I mean by that? Does that mean you just go out and run easy all the time? Well, no, you've got to look back at what we do on the bike. The bike is where we get a lot of our intensity, where we get our cardio as high as we can and really lactate ourselves and train over threshold and really work ourselves hard, because the risk of injury on the bike is far less than when you run. That's the number one point.
Mm-hmm.
So when you run anyway, cardio is stimulated higher than a normal bike effort.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to run very hard to stimulate your cardio.
Mm-hmm.
So the reasons we try to do lots of good running training is to get general musculoskeletal system, because you are supporting yourself when you run, whereas on a bike, the bike's supporting you.
Weight bearing compared to non-weight bearing.
Weight bearing activity. So that's really key, and stimulate our cardio. So they're the two things we were trying to achieve in running. But unfortunately, the harder you do that and the more you do that, the higher the risk of injury is. So what are we trying to achieve here? We're trying to achieve an endurance marathon runner here. And, to do repeated 400s for an Ironman marathon runner is going to A, risk injury because you're running too fast, and B, it's actually not specifically related to the event. Mm-hmm. So you would want to be doing sessions where you are actually running 5K reps, 3K reps, where you can run at a steady pace that can be over your marathon pace, but it's not at your race pace. And every now and then you throw in a 10K or a 15K or a half marathon so that you get some race-specific intensity. And a lot of those races, I get our guys to ride first and then get off and go and do the race, so that they're getting a feeling of running off the bike like 0.4. So running too hard in training, I see lots of athletes who are really good runners because they run with a running group and they run 4 times a week with the running group, and they can run a fantastic 10K, no doubt about it. But that put them into a triathlon and they keep coming back saying, I'm running so well in training, but I can't replicate it in the race. But you're not replicating it in training. You're replicating something else. You're replicating fresh running. And that's one of the things, we talked about in point 4. It's the same thing here. So where do I get my intensity? If I'm saying to everybody, you're running too hard in training, well, where am I getting my intensity? I'm saying you're going to get it from the bike, and you're going to get your endurance and musculoskeletal fitness from running with less intensity as a runner.
And there are some sessions that you will advocate for some intensity.
Yep. So our Wednesday sessions normally steadily progress, as you know very well in our plan, from steady state to tempo to some hill strength runs to some monofartlek. And that repeats itself. So we do gradually, once the body is fit enough, then we expose it to some faster running. But we only do that once a week. And all the rest of the time, we're actually trying to do some run just to get time on our feet, just to build the musculoskeletal system I keep going on about. And the stronger you are being weight-bearing running, the less chance you have of recurring injury. Yeah. And on that point, a lot of the guys who come to me have said, I do lots of endurance runs, and I'll say, okay, run me through what your last 5 long runs were and how long ago they were. And they'll say, I ran 18K, I ran 22K, I ran 24K. And then they stop speaking, and I think, well, is that as far as you've gone in your last preparation? Oh, yeah, I think I might have done 130K. Well, there's still 12 more K to go. And I don't advocate that everybody in training runs 42K, but I definitely advocate that you should be building each week and each month with some breaks in between, just like I talked about with the bikes for 12 months. You do 1 6-hour. You need to be doing 1 per month where you're running definitely close to your marathon time. Not hard, not with intensity, but just time on your feet. And you have to build up to that. And that's why, if I'm coaching individual marathoners, depending on how much training and how much racing they've done, they really need to be starting off, 18 months if you're a novice. So we really want to, most people in an average age grouper would probably be between 3 hours 30 and 4 hours 30. That's the marker that we're coaching people at. If you're running under 3 hours 30, you're going to be a really competitive triathlete in your age group, and most likely get in the top 10. So really it's important that you have lots of months build up where you can run, 2.5 to 3 to 3.5 hours to 4 to 4.5 hours. And you can't just do that on a base of 20K. You have to progressively get to that point. There's so many examples of the people I coach who have done trail running, 100K trail running, where I've had them doing 6-hour runs, and they've built up to it, to a 6-hour run. You might start laughing, 6-hour runs, and then gone in the afternoon and ran 2 hours. So they've ended up doing an 8-hour run in preparation for a 15-hour 100K Blue Mountains. And they've hardly had any intensity, just the things I spoke about before with tempo, some monofartlek, some hill repeats. And just by doing this endurance run, they have smashed their PBs in 10K, 15K, 21K, 42K without really training with intensity. And it is so obvious to me how this endurance run has contributed to such good results in other shorter distances.